Devin's top 5 defenses. We begin with number 5. Your number 5 top defense going into the 2025 NFL season.
I am going with Seattle.
Oh, okay.
Seattle is my top 5. And some people, they're going to look at it like Seattle, but I look at this. I look at Tariq Woolen. I look at Witherspoon. I look at Julian Love, what they added last year. And then I look at, what's the young guy's name that they just
Emanware
from South Carolina of like.
Right.
He doesn't have to go in and be like this amazing every down player.
Yeah.
If they can get out of him one role that Kyle Hamilton filled in Baltimore, like maybe it's just as a blitzer, and he does that. Like now you start to say, okay, like we have this secondary, and then you also you have Leonard Williams up front, and they're another unit in Seattle. Who's their pass rushers? All right, I could say some names. Like, oh yeah, let's go. As a unit, though,
I hear
front
you.
seven
You're
is
right.
really good.
Right.
And I think
Got
this
depth.
year, exactly.
Right, yeah.
I think this year, Mike McDonald, another year there. I think they started to form into when they moved Kobe Bryant to free safety.
Right.
They start to form into what they wanted to do as a defense. Now, with Humor in there, I don't know if Witherspoon, we talked about this before, if he gets to play in the slot as much.
Yeah.
That might differ a little bit, but I really like them at 5. I think they turn the corner a little bit as a defense.
I like what you're saying. I can get behind that. I can get behind it. I don't think we can – there's no doubt. I've talked to Mike McDonald personally about it. He did – like the defense, that's a complicated defense.
Yes.
It takes a minute for that to everybody on that side of the ball to understand all the checks, the coverage checks, the formation checks, all of that. So I think there's been that. And then like you said – yeah, there might be no marquee guy on that front 7, but damn, there's a lot of good. I mean, damn, first off, DeMarcus Lawrence is there, which he's been a marquee, and maybe this rejuvenates him. We know Leonard Williams a baller. All right, my Texas guy, Byron Murphy, he came out of the womb swole, right? I think this year is the year he becomes a difference maker. Uchenna Nwosu is a damn good player that, yeah, it might not be 14 sacks, but it's always around 7, 8, 10, right around there. So I can get behind what you're saying there totally. And, yeah, we talked a lot last year how much we like their secondary, and it's even better this year.
And when you watch them, to me, like when I first watched them this past year, there were a lot of guys on their defense that I didn't know by number. And I'm watching, and I'm pulling up the depth chart. And I'm like, man, who is this guy? Dang, who is Derek Hall? I'm like, he's making plays. Like
Auburn,
they have a lot of different guys that when you turn on the film, they're just flying around the field making plays. And that's what I always think of. Like we talked about it, my favorite defense. 2014, we played Seattle in that Super Bowl. The first play of the game, every defensive player is on the film. It's an outside run play, and everybody gets to the ball because, like, when you watch that as an offense, as a defense, and you see everybody get to the ball carrier, it's a gang tackle, and everybody's either right by the pile or they jump on the pile. Like, you're like, ooh, this defense loves playing together. They play with an energy, and it's infectious. So I think Seattle can be a top 5 defense this year.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so it's a little more of a projection because last year they were 25th or so in rush yards per play given up, but they were top 10 in the passing defense.
And
so
I would bet you at the end of the year that their stats were different if you just bottled up the last 5 or 6 games for sure when they started to kind of turn the corner there. But, yeah, I think Devin, you're exactly right. I think they're a defense to watch out for here this year.
Seahawks, number 5. Number 4 defense in the NFL is?
I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
Number 4. I think for Baltimore, similar to Seattle last year of great front 7. You couldn't run the ball against Baltimore. You could throw the ball for 400 yards against Baltimore early in the year. But by the end of the year, when they got to the playoff times and different things like that, even losing to Buffalo in the playoffs wasn't because of their defense.
Definitely
their defense, I mean, they played awesome in that game all over. But what I love about them is, again, when you look at their defense up front, yes, you have Madubuike. Madubuike, to me, is different. He's a stud.
Right.
But Kyle Van Noy, he's going to get mad. But he's an old guy.
Yeah.
He's an old guy.
Right.
But he knows how to rush. He knows how to run games. He knows how to do different
That salty
things.
veteran.
Exactly.
I'm going to rub on him with you, too, so he gets pissed at me, too.
Yeah.
Because
Whenever I call him old, he goes, I'm experienced.
He always experienced.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
He's walking somewhere earthing right now.
Yeah, right.
Him, Mr. Kyle Van Noy.
But it's him. It's Owe. And then a guy that people don't talk, Travis Jones. When you ask other players, is a stud in the middle as a defensive tackle.
Stud.
I think Nate Wiggins becomes a even better player this year. He's going to have to be out there playing. Now they got to find out. Marlon Humphrey's going to be the guy outside. They were better when he bumped inside and Kyle Hamilton stayed outside. What I was crushed about was Darius Williams getting hurt in the offseason.
Killed me too,
I
man.
thought he played really well.
Yeah.
Now, Malachi Starks is a stud. Like, he's going to – what I don't like is when a rookie has to step in and has to be the guy. But I think he's that type of guy. Guys coming from Georgia, the defense they played in the last few years, he can do that. But again, I think Kyle Hamilton's one of those all-world players, one of the best defensive players. So I think they're going to just continue to do what they did last year, losing Mike McDonald and, you know, having to replace him. And you get it. It's not a new scheme, but when you have a new play caller in there, you got to get adjusted to that. So I thought the way they develop towards the end of the year will be how they pick up and play. So I'm excited about what Baltimore can do.
Or Darius Washington, that hurt me. He was a guy back in the day. We had like I had a top 5 secondary guy, right? I mean, you know, because he was just small, kamikaze, awesome. You mentioned it. That's why I think the under the radar thing is about the Ravens. There's some up and comers that are coming. Like he mentioned Travis Jones, a guy out of UConn who we knew was an ass kicker coming out of college, right? Trenton Simpson, the middle linebacker, it's going to be another year for him. He'll be better this year. He mentioned Nate Wiggins. Malachi Starks, I'm with you in that. And like, you never want a rookie, complicated defense doing all that. But coming from Georgia, they usually have the pedigree to understand all the coaching and the schematics and all that there. So I wasn't sure where you were going to go with Baltimore. I'm interested. And they got Chidobe Awuzie, who's still got, I think, some wear on his tires.
He has to be big.
He's got to be big.
Because Stevens was supposed to be the guy last year. Like going into the season last year, they were confused on how they handle Marlon Humphrey, a veteran, and Stevens, a guy that they felt could be the guy at corner. He's gone this year,
right?
Because he didn't perform well last year.
With the Jets.
And Marcus Williams was a guy that played early in the season for them last year. They moved on from him, a veteran player that didn't play well on a big contract. So I think they answered some questions throughout the season last year that now you got to go in and you got to perform to that level because the pressure's going to be on. This is another team. You bring in Hopkins, you're going to say, hey, we want to be a Super Bowl
They should have been in the
team.
Super Bowl the last 2 years.
Exactly.
I mean, we've gotten into January the last 2 seasons, and Baltimore's been the best team in the AFC. They blew it against Buffalo. They, you know, listen, they didn't play their best day. I'm not going to say they blew it against Kansas City the year before that, but they were the better team. There's no doubt about that. And icing on the top, they got the steal of the draft in the second round, maybe, with the kid Mike Green at a Marshall, the pass rusher. You think of him. He contributes to them, too, to where they can just rush 4 and start getting pressure that way. Watch out for Baltimore.
We got an icing on the top and a wear on the tires.
Damn.
Both in that breakdown.
Damn.
Of the Baltimore
Ravens. Did I say both of those there, right there?
UT Madden said to us, Ravens got to be in the top 5 for sure. Secondary only got better, adding Malachi Starks. Pass rush got more dynamic with Mike Green. Existing studs, Roquan, Humphrey, Matabike, Hamilton. So basically the same stuff you guys were saying. DC, Zach Orr will feast in his second season. So UT Madden is on board.
So right now Twitter's loving me.
Twitter's loving you for right now. These were pre-questions, though, so we don't know the reaction yet.
Yeah.
But the Seahawks and Ravens to start off a defensive list, I mean, those are 2 teams you think in both conferences. You think defense first, oddly enough, right?
Well, here we go. Does it go downhill here? We've made it to the top 3.
The top
your
3
number
is easy.
3. Your
top
number
3
3 defense in the NFL going into the 2025 season is
the Houston Texans. And if you get mad because your team's at 3 and not 2 or 1, like I don't care. Like you're top 3, you're elite. I mean,
look at him. He's sounding like me now over here.
Like
top 3.
Defending himself before he even finished the list.
Top 3. We just talked about Georgia. Kwame Lassiter last year comes in as a rookie, plays awesome because when you play opposite of a guy who's going to be an all-pro player and Derek Stingley Jr., the pressure's on. Like, you got to perform because every pass is coming your way. And, again, you see every time we do this, we're starting in the secondary. And, again, Kalen Bullock, and then they add C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So, like, whatever attitude and energy you thought you had coming in, take that up a notch. So, and I thought one of my favorite players to watch, last year he played more of a nickel, but Jalen Petrie's a safety. I love watching him.
Yeah, he's such a New England, Nick Caserio, Devin McCourty kind of guy.
He's a guy that I never could play like. Like, I just didn't have that switch in my mind that told me, don't care about your body, just go run full speed into somebody.
Right.
But, like, Petrie plays like that. It reminds me a little bit of, like, Earl Thomas when Earl was in Seattle. Like, when he came out of the middle, whether it was a robber, whether it was a guy running, like, he was going to run full speed. He's going to intercept it or he's going to knock you out. And, like, Petrie played like that. So, and again, that's even before we mentioned, like, we're going to talk about duos. Like, Will Anderson Jr. and Donnell Hunter coming off the edge.
Might be the best duo in football.
Might be the best duo in football.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all you got to say.
They just have – this defense has so many guys that when you turn on the film as an offense, you don't want to be hit by them.
Right.
Like Al Shahir, like you don't want to get hit by him. And I know people could get mad at certain plays last year and all that, but it's a certain amount of fear when you play and there's Petrie over there. There's going to be Gardner Johnson over there. Like these guys, they're just animals. And there's one guy, Christian Harris, the year before he got hurt.
You don't have to tell me. I know.
I mean,
he was looking like he was going to be Fred Warner.
It's a hard time for him to get on the field last year with Toa out there. Like
he was banged up
at linebacker.
Yeah.
They add EJ Speed. They add to him. Like
I know.
You have a lot of guys. You still have Donnell Autry. There's
a
lot of
good
guys.
Depth. Darrell Taylor.
Yes.
Yeah, you just said it.
Jimmy
Autry,
Ward.
Mario Edwards. I would argue, and I don't know if you would agree with this or not, I would say in the front seven, it might be the fastest front seven in football.
Yes.
I think when you talk about those linebackers, the safety play and the edge guys, man, they can fly around the field.
Smaller, faster guys that'll hit you.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, it's a 49ers-like attitude when the 49ers were in their prime on defense. That's what D'Amico's brought. Like, it's a bunch of kamikaze, psycho dudes. Al Shazier is that way. I'm with you in the Christian Harris thing. I mean, I've loved Christian Harris from the get-go, but I don't know what happens with him because Tio Toto, right, is a damn good player too, and he's fast as well.
And then, sometimes when guys get hurt,
right,
after you're back for a full year, that year you come back might not be awesome.
Right.
What we see is that next year we're like, now that's the guy we remember seeing.
Right.
So that might be for him coming back this year.
I mean, you could make an argument that last year Houston, they had a down year, right? It wasn't quite what they expected offensively, and C.J. Stroud taking a step back, and I think that overshadowed how good they were on defense last year. I mean, no one really talked. They were top 5 by all accounts, total yards per play, passing defense. They were top 5 interception rate, top 5 in sacks. I mean, really, they did everything well last year. I don't know that was
their
talked
defense
about.
is better than where they're ranked. If their offense played better last year, I bet you they'd be top 1 or top 2. Yeah. Right, but they got some. They went through some games that we sat here and went, it's 3 and out, it's 3 and out, it's 3 and out. They had to play kind of ugly offensive football games to pull it out. To me, the Houston Texans, I said this to Florio today, I'm just going to piggyback off of what he said. I think they're going to fix some of those offensive line pass protection issues. I would have a hard time thinking, between Nick Caley, Caserio being there, a lot of New England people there.
Cole Popovich was a guy that was in New England who came in.
Right.
So Dante Scarnecchia, known around the NFL as one of the
greatest O-line coaches ever.
Cole Popovich came in and was under Scar. So, he was supposed to take over New England. The whole COVID vaccine stuff happened. Right. He was let go in New England. He bounced around D2, D3 for a year, then ended up in Houston as an assistant. He now, who was with Nick Caley, will take over. That offensive line will be built in a way that how Scar would build it.
Exactly.
Built off protection first, play second.
Exactly.
Like, we're not going to have a play we love and say, but
we can't protect it.
You're not
That's what they did last year. You go, that was a cool play, but he's sacked for an 8-yard loss. Who gives a shit if it was cool? And that's I think that he's saying what I'm saying. They're going to get Stroud like Brady and be like, hey, 54's the mic. And if something changes, check. No, check that. Leo, 72's the mic over here, whatever. They're going to make him in control of it. There was issues there. And my bottom line point I was getting to is I think people are sleeping on the Texans. The Texans are a Super Bowl team. The Texans could go to the Super Bowl this year for the first time in franchise history.
Wow.
I think between what he's saying on defense, we both think the offensive line will get fixed. They would definitely be on the short list team for me. I know that.
I mean, they've been, again, you mentioned Nick Caserio, but the way he has built this team, the defense is built exactly how D'Amico Ryans is.
Yeah.
Like, his energy, his attitude, the way he played, the way he was in San Fran, that's the type of players they have. Now I think the offense starts going to be built a little bit like what you just said, what New England had. It's not going to be about a guy. It's not going to be about just get the ball to Nico Collins or run the ball. Like, it's going to be, if you do this, we'll beat you this way. You do that, we'll beat you. Like, they're going to be able to be very multiple and doing different things. Like, Nick Caley came from New England, went with McVay last year for 2 years in the Rams. Like, that's kind of what you want as an offense, to get all of those different things and blend it together. It should be fun to see in Houston.
So I think you're wrong. I think you are going to get some hate for having them number 3. I think the way you talk about, I think you're going to be the number 1 team out there, number 1 defense. Number 3 for you going into the 2025 season. We're down to the top 2. Your number 2 defense is?
Yeah, like how could you get mad at Houston? Number 2 is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. Like we saw what they did in the Super Bowl.
Awesome guys,
what
though.
they did as a team. Talent everywhere. Like this is the team where you just have so much talent. And again, it doesn't mean you don't have good coaching. It's just sometimes you look and you say, like, hey, me and Simms, like, if we coached this defense, I don't think we'd be top 5. We would have some bumps and like, we would be 6th though.
Right.
And like we have no coaching experience as a defensive coordinator or anything. But we're
sorry,
gonna be
Vic
6th.
Fangio.
But like with Vic Fangio, they're going to be 1 or 2. Like that's the difference in coaching. Like
Right.
good players can't overcome bad
I'm
coaching.
sitting here right now going, who the you got number 1?
Yeah,
That's what I'm going to be interested in. But don't tell yet.
Number
Let's
1
keep
is number
unpacking
1.
the Eagles.
Yeah.
Let's keep unpacking the Eagles.
Let's keep patting the Eagles on the back, because when your offense is going to be 1 or 2 and your defense is going to be 1 or 2, that's how you win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But again, starting from the back end, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Blankenship. Now, again, they're going to need guys to step up, right? Keely Ringo is going to have to be the guy that you drafted, the reason you drafted him. And I love Sidney Brown, because Sidney Brown's Chase Brown, twins.
Yeah, twin. He's another guy in the middle, smart.
But we talked about this.
Yeah.
Andrew, say his last name.
Makuba.
This
is my mofo
from
right
Texas.
here.
Like,
Yeah.
if there's a draft pick that came out and you
right.
said, hey, who's a draft pick that, like, when you watch him, you feel like, hey, you're watching a little bit of yourself? It's him. Like, when I watched him at Texas, being in the middle, roaming, flying out of the secondary, making tackles, like
got some coverage skills
all over.
Right,
Like, so I do it again. He's not gonna have to step up and be the guy right away. Like I think Sidney Brown, but Sidney Brown, like when he's in there and he's the starter during training camp and all that, he better be on, because I think this guy and Philadelphia, Vic Fangio, it's not an overly complicated defense when you come in and you got to learn it. You just got to be a baller to play in this defense. You got to be a stud. And I think he's going to be a guy that can do that. And then keeping Zach Bond, Jalen Carter, like
what's better with them? Their front 7 or the secondary, in your opinion? Because this is one where it's like both are pretty top notch.
And it's the front 7 is all because like any duo's good with Jalen Carter.
Exactly.
Like, no matter who you name, that's hard, man, to pick.
Right? Yeah, because you're the secondary. I'm with you. I love it too. They're young, so they haven't maybe reached their potential. You can say a lot about that with the front 7 too, but I don't think either one of us will argue that Jalen Carter is top 2 or 3 defensive player in football. Right?
He's unbelievable.
I mean, if not one. I mean, he's that kind of guy right
there.
And
then for Philly, like you watched the Super Bowl last year, and then you're like, oh yeah, Jelix Hunt, who's that? Oh wow, he's incredible. Like good player throughout the year, but it's something different when guys play big in the biggest game of the year. The confidence you now go into the next season with is different. And, like, they have those guys. And who knows, maybe Bryce Huff finds his footing. If he gives him something, and then, again, everybody talked about Jahed Campbell coming in. Like, if he's able to play at any type of level, that just makes you even better. And then hopefully we see where Nakobe Dean is coming in, because I thought he was a guy that played better as the season went on and ended up being, I think, that guy they could count on, that middle linebacker. But this defense just has no holes. They have 0 holes.
No holes. I know, like, Ahmed brings up they lost some players, but I want to
Williams
I don't really give a shit. They got replacements for all of
Bond.
them.
I thought that was hit big.
I mean, Bond was probably the biggest one. And then you got a rookie who's going to be ready to play right away. And this, if his shoulder's good.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also on top of that, I'll be interested to see what they do with him too, because we kind of talked about in the pre-draft process when we broke him down, his first step off the edge was comparable to Abdul Carter. It was one of the best first steps there was. He's going to get used in some capacity out there, but watch out for them.
So now imagine as an offense,
crazy.
right?
Yeah.
You take the field. You're going to have Nolan Smith out there, Zach Bond. You put Campbell out there. Who's going, like in New England, we used to say, when we go out there on 3rd down, who's going to be where?
Right.
Like if the offense doesn't know who's going to line up where, you know how hard that is? One moment you're on the edge. Hey, this guy, he's the edge. Hey, this guy's the mic. Then they flip-flop. Are they still the edge?
I know. That's what's tough, especially with the damn new numbers, too, and everybody wearing 3 and 0, and you're like, what the hell? I can't keep track of everybody here. All right, so that was number 2.
That's number 2. All right,
wow.
so they're
I
good.
mean, wait, Philadelphia, he made you guys number 2.
Yeah,
just so
right.
you know.
Look at
Oh, they can take offense to that.
Oh, well, I
We're
mean,
going.
we got cursed out in Philadelphia last year for no reason.
Wait for
like
it
we're in
now.
the end zone just trying to do our job with Football Night in America. First they started cursing him out. I was like a bystander standing too close to him. So then I had to talk about how many Super Bowls I had, and that's not fun when you got
No,
to do that.
yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah.
No one
No,
wants
they
to go
started
to
on
that.
me, and they're like, all right, we've abused you enough, and then they started on
And
him.
then I got the F-bomb. I'm just standing here.
Well, this is what you had the gall to call them a super team outside of maybe their quarterback, and now you've had the gall to call them the number 2 defense. So in
How
the
dare
NFL.
you.
So they are going to go all over you. So all right, that leaves one.
They'll be okay when I say my number 1. It's
Okay, well we'll see.
the Denver Broncos. Like,
Ooh.
did you like Denver's defense last year?
You know I did. I
Okay,
loved it.
you liked them.
Yeah.
Then I tell you they get Dre Greenlaw
Yeah.
and Hufanga.
Right.
Like you add 2 guys from San Francisco's defense who now again they have to be out there for Denver. I get that point
Yeah.
of it.
Right.
But when they were out there for San Francisco, we were like, man, San Francisco, this might be the best defense. Like a lot of that had to do with the way these 2 guys played. So for me, like I just watched him and I'm just like, man, like this is a really good unit coming back. And then again, starts in the back end. Patrick Surtain in the second.
Maybe
to
the
me,
best corner. If
best
not,
corner in
yeah.
football.
Right.
If not the best, you need to have 2 corners on the field.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of the 2 corners you're going to have on the field. And then the pass rush with Cooper, Benito, Allen in the middle. They just have so many different guys that can play. Fast guys at linebacker and Singleton, and those guys will run with Greenlaw. But, again, I think Riley Moss is a guy that got a lot of credit last year. I thought that T. Higgins, he has to recover from that. As a corner, you say, hey, short-term memory, all that. When somebody goes out there and they do what T. Higgins did to him in that game.
And he had just gotten back from injury. So hopefully he can tell himself that.
And then they add Barron from Texas to go along with McMillan, who was a really good slot corner. So they'll figure out how to play that.
Yeah, I'm interested in how they play that out, really.
We were both the guys last year with Mike Sanderstrom coming from Michigan.
Right.
Who we both, when we talked about top corners, were like, he's more of just a nickel, so I don't want to put him there. You fast forward to Washington last year, I think they wanted to play him in the slot, but he has to play outside. And he played damn
really
well
good,
outside at corner.
Yeah.
So like I'm hesitant to just say Barron's a nickel. He can't play outside. Like I don't know. I think your defense determines what guys can do, how you're gonna play them. So I think for Denver now, you look up and you have 4 corners that you love and trust. That's a good feeling.
Definitely. He can
when
do
you can
everything,
say that.
Barron.
Exactly.
He can do it all.
So,
right.
Again, to me, when you pick top 3 defenses, any given day, those 3 can be phenomenal. Yeah. I'm going Denver. If somebody says, hey, I think they should be 2 and Philly should be 1.
Yeah, you're not going to be
all right,
too
cool.
mad at it.
You whatever you want to say. This is my 1, though.
Right.
I think Denver is a team. They're going to play. I think they're going to play a little bit to their defense as well. Offensively, they're not going to try to put them in bad positions. They're going to do – Sean Payton's going to control that. Hey, if we're in a position it's 3rd and 15 and the ball's at the minus 30, hey, we're going to try to get 7 or 8 yards, punt the ball, play good defense. Like it's going to line up for them to play good defense as well.
Yeah. I hear you. I love their secondary. I am interested in what they do with Barron. Right, I am. I mean, there's almost a part of me sometimes that goes, would a guy like Brandon Jones in the back end be in danger of losing his job?
Depending on how they want to play.
Right, and putting Barron there because then you keep McMillan at nickel, which I think, like, I'm with you. McMillan is a phenomenal nickel. And those edge guys are kind of under the radar. The public doesn't know about Nick Bonino yet. I feel like they're just catching on. And, of course, then you got Zach Allen in the middle, who I would say is like a J.J. Watt, lesser version, but that kind of guy. Awesome interior pass rusher. There's really not a lot of weakness with their football team. And if they keep Dre Greenlaw healthy, watch out. They're going to be one of the top defenses in the game. They are awesome. I still would put Eagles 1 in my book, right? But I think his top 3 are the top 3. I'm with you there.
All right, I'll do Houston 1. I would have put Houston 1 after the way you guys talked about him.
He's just saying that to start
something.
He's
just starting to
something.
something. Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.